Hello and good evening to another episode of the Wednesday Week Q&A. Yes, it's been a while that we've decided to international break gives us a little bit of leeway for our content, so I thought, why not bring it back? We've had some cracking questions. Dan's had a spare few minutes to come up with a new tune for us. So, tonight, Stevie, Dan, and myself, Ash, we're going to try and answer some questions. Guys, evening. Are we all right?
How are you getting on, mate? You all right?
I'm fantastic, mate.
I'm well happy with that. I'm absolutely buzzing.
My God. Oh, my God.
Well, what can I say? Stevie, back at school. Good day.
Yeah, it's been a great day, he said, with his corporate hat on. It's been wonderful, inspiring the youth of tomorrow. But yeah. I can tell. Do you know what? I've spent all summer, 6 weeks, pestering you two at like 8 o'clock in the morning, going, right, we should do this, we should do that. I don't mind doing this. I've just dropped this on Canva. What about this idea? What about doing that? What about doing the other? And now I get it when you guys are like, fuck off, I've got work to do.
Bro, we're working.
And the chat today between us three has just been bum, 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 bum. And it's been so two-sided.
Yeah.
Daniel, we'll just start off with you. You've had a bit of an interesting day, haven't you? You've been out in the big smoke.
Yeah, I've had a couple of trips to London today. So this morning I recorded the TalkSport show, 5 p.m. TalkSport 2 every Thursday. It is available as a podcast. But then I thought, oh, there's that protest happening today. I'll pop down. So on the way back from London Bridge, from the News UK building where I record the TalkSport show, I thought I'll stop off and then go to the protest, and then got there and there was nobody there. There was nothing happening. And then I actually checked the time and it was 4 p.m. So I went home and had to come back again, and then went to the protest outside the Thai embassy. And I've had a really good day. I've had a really good afternoon. It was really respectful. It was really well put together by the London Owls. And then the trust got a group of guys to come down on a bus, and there was like 50 people on a bus as well. And then in true Yorkshire fashion, we found the nearest booze and went for a couple of pints after. And I had some good chats with everybody. Met Alex Miller in the flesh, and he's looking trim. He's doing well on the weight loss, bless him. He's doing a hell of a job. And I spent some time with Mark the Pitsmore Owl and Sid the Greek and all those people that you see online. And it was nice to put names to face and stuff like that. I got Gid a scarf. I've got a scarf from the trust as well. Got one of them. So I genuinely I've had some really good conversations with some people. I think what I've realised is the difference between our perception of ourselves that we put online and how you're perceived out there and all the rest of it. And I feel like what we did, and I've come away kind of realising that we're all after the same game. We're all after the same end game. All right, some of us are going to go about it differently, and some of us are going to have different views on the way it should go. But essentially, it's all the same end game. And I'm a bit more world weary, as it were, and I'm a couple of pints deep. So brace yourself, kids. Hold tight.
Can I just ask a quick question before we go any further? Because I think we've just skated over this one point. You talked about going in for TalkSport on the Dan Fudge show on TalkSport,
yes,
which is now available as a podcast as well.
As a podcast, yeah.
And then you decided you were going to shoot across to the protest.
Yep.
But there was nobody there. What time did you get to the protest?
11 a.m.
Yeah, buddy. And what time did the protest start?
4 p.m.
Wow, Daniel. Not like being too early, is there?
Well, I'll tell you what I did. The London Owls had released, I subscribe to them, so I'm on their mailing list and stuff like that. And I thought, I'll look at their last correspondence. And it said, we're doing this, we're going here, this is what we're doing. I went, oh, sick. And there wasn't a time on their last correspondence. If I'd have scrolled one further, I'd have realised that that's what the time was.
Well done, Daniel.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. So we're back for the we like to call it therapy, don't we, guys? This is one where we just get all the questions in. We talk about Sheffield Wednesday. We talk about, does ketchup belong in the fridge? Anything and everything. So anyone who's watching, you get your comments in, get a question in, react to any of the questions that we bring up. We want your thoughts. Please do. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff as well to the podcast. All right, Steve.
I'm just pointing to like and subscribe bits.
Yeah, all right. I'm on the other way here, down in it. Yeah, so let's crack on. First question. Are you ready, guys?
Go on, hit me.
And there's no sort of way of going about this, but I just thought I'd try and put in some sort of like segue. So obviously we played Wrexham a couple of weeks ago. So we've got a question here from Owl_South Yorkshire on X. With this new wave of celebrity ownership, if you could pick any one celebrity to own/part own Sheffield Wednesday, who would it be and why? I think it's a cracking question. Seems as we're in the predicament we're in at the minute. So, yeah, thoughts about this? I'm going to go with. I'll go with you, Stevie, first. So, celebrities.
Yeah, I suspect it probably depends on who your favourite sort of celebrities are, aren't they? So, if you ask me, it's going to be somebody who's an athlete, because that's the sort of the medium that I tend to favour. I'm a little bit of a closet wrestling fan. So who do I know that's famous, that's got a load of money, that likes to be, public facing and be out there? So I thought, you know what? Imagine if The Rock bought Sheffield Wednesday. That'd be amazing, wouldn't it? So on one sense, I'm thinking this guy who's, he's got a finger in all these pies. He's like tequila. He manufactures tequila. He's putting himself forward for Oscars. He's one of those 24/7 guys who seems to perpetually work forever, and he's always on at something. Surely there's another sort of arm to the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson sort of.
I don't want to pour scorn on your answer there, Stevie, but he does have a clause in his contract that he can't lose. So where would be the fun in that? We're winning every game.
So what you're saying is we'd be stuck between a rock and a hard place. That's where we're at the minute, aren't we? Eh?
He just have it written into his contract, right? Who have we got on Saturday? Oh, Bristol City. Oh, do you know what? Here's how it's going to go down from the kickoff. This is what we're going to do, and we're going to and just script the first half, and we'll be 3-0 down at half time.
Yeah.
And then the true underdog story. All the subs have to dive in under canvas and come on and strip off all the training gear.
Yeah,
we're going to
Barry Bannon will go into a state of Hulkamania and just start shaking his head, and then leg drop somebody at the back stick. Yeah. Yeah.
He was absolutely my number one. It was like, who do you want? Somebody who's got loads of money, who's Hollywood, who's got a high profile. But then a more sort of, not logical, but an extension from what the other guys are doing. Charlie's just put Mark the Pitts Morale. If Mark the Pitts Morale's got enough money to buy Sheffield Wednesday, let's do it.
Yeah.
Looking at sort of the Hollywood side, you've got Rob and Ryan. And then you've got all the American sports performers that are sort of coming in at Birmingham, and there's one or two others that have been linked. My other sport is basketball, so somebody like a Michael Jordan, LeBron James, a Steph Curry, who have got money to burn, that need something to do in the off season.
Steph Curry, guaranteed 3 points, Steve. Guaranteed 3 points.
Well, there you go. Hey. There you go. They're the kind of guys that are born and bred winners. They've got the right mentality, the right attitude from a sporting perspective. And in all seriousness, that sort of American model seems to be somebody who knows how to organise and run a business and be able to do something. So I'd like to see somebody like that. If it was left to me, and we could have anybody invest, it'd be somebody like that, I think.
So one corner we've got The Rock or / Michael Jordan / LeBron. Daniel, please don't say any member of Steps.
Look, if Claire off Steps was a Wendy fan, I'd be all in it. But I did go down music styles. When I first started thinking of this question, obviously your first thoughts are like, Jarvis Cocker and Alex from the Arctics, and you know what I mean. And you think to these people who are in the public eye, make a few quid, and you know what I mean? And there's a connection with music and football, and things like that. And then I went on and thought, well, who would it be? Like, where do I find the level of fame? Do we go down Tommy off Coronation Street or Tricky Dicky off EastEnders? You know what I mean? And something like that. But what I ended up going down was Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk as their richest. That's all I went down because a few weeks ago on the podcast, Stevie, you said like we're not just after somebody who's going to buy players. We're after somebody who needs to sort out the full infrastructure of the place, the sponsorship agreements, the traffic, the catering, you know what I mean? All the things, the ground improvements that need happening. Who can afford that? Jeff Bezos can afford it. Elon Musk, not so much. I don't really align with his moral code, but yeah, probably Jeff. Get Jeff Bezos in. Why? Because he's got money. And all these people that we need to align ourselves with in terms of sponsorship, you know, Amazon on the front of the shirts. Do you know what? This is going to be a rumor online, isn't it? Now tomorrow, this is going to be like, have you had Jeff Bezos in for Wednesday? That's going to happen. It's not. It's just pure speculation. But like, imagine that, and then everybody at these big companies wanting to align themselves with somebody like Jeff Bezos. They're like, yeah, I'll chuck a few million at Sheffield Wednesday because Jeff's involved. So yeah, that one is rich.
Hey, no wrong with that. I mean, you'd think that with a great business brain like Jeff's got, he'd employ the right people in the right positions as well. So you'd have him obviously at the top. You know, like good owners of football clubs, what they should do. Yeah. If they're not into football, they'll go right. They'll have a scout round and get the right people. So I was thinking the same sort of lines as you, Dan. I was musical, Sheffield based. You know, a bit of a consortium. Just pure for shits and giggles. I think it'd be great and it'd be good. And I would say Arctic Monkeys, I'm a big fan of.
Are you going to go down the route of John McClure and then Chris can manage it as Steve Bracknell? Is that what you're thinking? Is that?
I wasn't, but that's a great shout.
I'd turn up for that.
He needs a promotion, doesn't he? He's Sunday League manager all his life. He can't be, can he? So why not the Wednesday? So yeah, so I was going to go that, and then there was obviously the same. It was Jarvis, and then his self-esteem, you know, like a consortium of Sheffield artists. I thought would be great. I went that way, but yeah, it's who knows who's going to come in. I mean, we've tried for Texan billionaires, we've tried for local guys made good in Florida, so who knows?
Did I read online that Tillman Fertitta was back in, or did I imagine that, or was that just some nonsense online? Did I hear that he was back involved?
I don't know if that was a thing where somebody just dropped his name at the end of like a poorly attempted punchline or something like that. I might be wrong. It's been a busy week, but I think I've probably seen the same thing as you.
Fez.
We've had a good comment here from our mate Dave. But would Bezos be able to deliver? Okay,
no, he does. It just does beef, chicken, and chips.
But a bomb. Right, next question. Quite apt as well. So let's go with this. Tommy up the owls UTO on X. If you could have any other fans on as guests, who would you want? So we had Mark Pitts-Morale. Did fantastic well on My Wednesday with Daniel a few weeks ago. Wondering if you tried anyone else in our colourful fan base. So obviously a few years ago we did My Wednesday where we did get quite a lot of fans on. We chatted to them for anywhere between 20 minutes, an hour and 20 if Stevie was interviewing them. And it was it went down the storm and we heard stories from people who you've probably seen on social media or at the games. So it was fantastic. So if you could pick a dream guest on that, guys, off any social media or any person that you've seen or anyone you met today, Daniel, maybe, who would it be? Go on, Daniel, you first.
I did have a couple of people ask about My Wednesday today. You know what I mean? There was a couple of people that asked about it. They're going to send me DMs. So I don't want to out them right now. But there was a few people that did ask. But I'd like to get like Alex Miller and Joe Cran, right? And this is really low key, and I know it is. But the pair of them sit there and just report the news, and I think they're very good at doing what they do. They make sure they're verified when they talk about it. They make sure it's a decent level of output and all the rest of it. But I'd love to just have either one of them just on their own for 45 minutes and just go, tell me about how you feel. Tell me about what your opinion is on this. I don't, they wouldn't in their current capacities right now as Sheffield Wednesday journalists, but I'd love to just hear them out just for 10 minutes at least and just go, he's a dick though, isn't he? You know what I mean? Like, what's your true feelings about Joe Cran, Alex? You know, something like that. You know what I mean? Like what's Chris Holt like as a boss? You know, something like that. Like, I feel like we get some absolute box office stories because, you know, we're working in this environment that we do on when we put this version of ourselves on. You tend to hear a lot of rumors and a lot of stories and stuff like that. And I just kind of want to bring a load of things to the table and go, listen, we got told this. Is that true? You know what I mean? Things like that. They'd sort that out. But somebody, Dato Khan there saying get Tango on. We did put the groundwork in for that, didn't we? And I feel like we need to get that over the line at some point going forward. Jermaine Jackson's getting a decent outing, but I feel like Jermaine Jackson was more of a honorary fan rather than me going, so do you really miss Gary Hooper in 2016 or what? Like, you know, and he go, goddamn Shamon, I love them motherfucking owls.
What in the same vein as David Greedo?
I tell you what, listen, David Greedo comes in for a lot of flack, but we had an away day with David Greedo in that London at Fulham one day, and he's obviously well learned because he's a sports journalist, so he knows a lot about football and all the rest of it. And then he just went. We were having the pints, early incarnation of this show. Actually, we were on the pints. It was me, Eddie, and Eddie's wife in London. He came back and he'd gone missing for like 40 minutes. He went, "Hey, that's how he speaks. He went, "Hey, I brought these," and it all brought us back a Mr. Tom bar. And I was like, "Fair play on the knowledge there, David Garrido. I'll give you that one."
Done his own work. His own work. Stevie, any Wednesdayites, any guests that stand out you'd like to get on? And this could be a shout out if people are listening or know these people. We might get it out the cupboard. Sorry.
Cupboard.
Yeah, cupboard.
Is that another moment of Ash reading the comments before he's put them on screen and got distracted while he was talking?
No, it wasn't. That was Ash.
A lie. You're a liar.
No.
He just had a little bit of a brain fart there, didn't he?
Very much so.
Right. I tell you what, sometimes I sit in the dark at home and I think to myself, that last man standing group is absolute value. And there must be 7-8 people on there. And we've had some on. I think John Duncan's done a My Wednesday with Simon Minty, and I think a couple of others have been on, and people that have been in and then come out of it and so forth. So we've had some in the past. There are some fascinating characters in that group chat. And this isn't a self-promotion for our gambling that we do or anything like that.
I've got the gambling jingle ready if you want to.
Well, I weren't on this week, so sometimes I think there are people on there, and there's a sort of a loop that I'm going to come round. There's some fascinating people in there. Away from that, I'd really, in all seriousness, and I hope that she gets to a point where she can listen to this, I'd love to sit down and do what would be the equivalent of something quite intimate in terms of an online face-to-face with Holly. I think Holly would be really good value for just like because she's the face of everything, isn't she? She's the one at the front of the car.
Holly.
Oh, yeah.
Our Holly.
Our
Holly.
Oh, mate, you've seen the chat. You've seen the WhatsApp.
I think, but this is what I'm saying. When I say intimate, I'm not being weird or inappropriate because she's like our sister. But I'd love to just sit down and go, talk to me about your journey as a Wednesday fan. Give us some of your memories. But imagine asking, because we always used to do like the best away days. And we always used to do your memories and where did you get most drunk and what's the best.
And she'd have a random one like Exeter or something back in 2012. Yeah.
If we could do just a 1-to-1, not me because it'd last 7 days apparently, like Craig David, but if we could get Ash and just get Holly on and just do 45 minutes of her just going, right, this is my journey as a Wednesday fan. And then a couple of others that I'd love to. My favourite Twitter account, because he aligns with me, I'd love Ben SWFC. I think he'd be absolutely Ben SWFC.
And
then
I don't want to spoil the magic because in my head, that geezer is razor sharp. He's got his clips ready. He's got an answer for nearly bloody everything. And I don't want that. I don't want to ruin the magic.
Yeah.
No offense, Ben, if you're watching.
He'd be class. And the only other one for shits and giggles, and it kind of ties everything together. Fella got a load of flack a couple of weeks ago and nobody understands why he's blocking everyone. So let's get Chris Stokes on.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Oh, have you just done a wish list there, Stevie? Have you just done a wish list?
It's an itinerary.
I've got the theme tune ready to go. I've got.
I'll quickly do mine before we get to some adverts. I've been given the eye from the boss. I think I don't know. There's a couple, but I think I agree with you, Dan. I think I'd like to get people on that, from. I don't know. I'm going to go.
You haven't said a sentence yet, Ash. Keep going.
Yeah, I know. I'm struggling. I'm struggling a little bit. It's been an hard day.
I bet you wish you went to the adverts now, aren't you?
Yeah. I should have. But from because I've met him before, Craig from the LMS, and his daughter Ellie. I get really on well with Craig. Seen him at match a few times. I'd like to have a chat with him about it. I want to get. I chatted to Tom Burton, one of the first Wednesday ones, and we did say about doing another one. I'd like to get him back on because I really like Tom. So I'm going to go with them two guys. I'm not really. I think
what about
Michael Vaughan would be interesting because same as what you Stevie said about Chris. He's had some hammer this last few weeks because he's come out obviously in support of selling the club, but it's been like a year too late. But people have said, "Where's he been for the last God knows how long?" So I think he might be interesting. Wish list. It's got to be like before. I'm a big Arctic Monkeys fan, so Alex Turner. We have tried getting Jarvis on a few times, but no, he won't. And then love to chat to Chris Waddle, but he doesn't do a podcast, so we've tried loads. So, but if anyone knows Chris, please ask him. We are gentle, so yeah, they're the guys for me. Admit.
You may be surprised to learn that I'm a big fan of 80s rock, given the intro to this and that advert there.
Right, we've got a question here from Paul Muntz. So he's asked a question, and he can. We're all season ticket holders, but he has asked, who's renewing next season if this current ownership is still here? So would any of us renew our season tickets, probably just before Christmas, no doubt, or thing, if Chansiri is still at the club? Anyone in the comments, crack on, get your questions in, or put an answer into this question. Stevie, I'll go with you first since you leant forward then.
It's the easiest no of the night, really, isn't it? I think there's more of an existential consideration to be had in the answer. Can you imagine, just sort of picture the scene, it tends to get to November or December. Can you imagine coming out, if he's still in situ, come the week before Christmas, and they're going, right, season tickets are going to be launched? Imagine the absolute outcry. I don't think anybody would. I genuinely don't. And I know there's been some what's the word I'm looking for? There's been some quite conflicting emotions around what has happened. And I'm on about 2/3 of the way through Monday's pod on my journey into work today. And I know that people talked about sort of my experience on Saturday, which was something, just to put a little bit of a sort of a serious spin on it, weren't great. And I weren't proud of myself the way that I reacted to somebody else. And there's a bigger story around that. But like Dan said earlier on, he's met people are going over to protest, people are talking about things. I don't personally think that there's anybody here now that would have any sort of justification for paying the money that he would be demanding and supporting the regime that he is the head of, even though he's effectively just one person now. If he were to ask us to part with any sort of money for 2025, 26, 26, 27, wouldn't it? For me personally, it'd be an absolute no. I just can't get away from the fact that it'd be absolutely we think we're divided now, and we think that there's been that sort of divisive element of him coming in and splitting the fan base with his behaviour, the things that he's done, and people making the choices that they've made. I think it'd be catastrophic for the club if he started asking for money next year. I personally think we're on the vinegar strokes, as Dan might say, in terms of where we are with it. How long that lasts for, I don't know, but I do think there is an end game, and I think that the end is in sight. I just don't know how far away it is, but I can't see him being here. If he was here next year, I absolutely couldn't. And you know what? We talked about it the other day. I really enjoyed that watch along. And if it comes to boycotts and things like that, let's have a year or however longer sitting on here and talking to people that we love and get on well with and have a bit of banter rather than going there. And if we have to change our sort of the way that we access our football club temporarily, I hope we don't, and I don't think we will, then I think I'd look at something else.
Oh, do you know what? You've absolutely scuppered me there, you prick. So
it's been a while, mate.
I was young. I need the money. So I was going to try and start a conversation online and all the rest of it, because that's what Dan Fush does. It's his entire shtick. But I was gonna come in and go, if it was March and it was 150 quid cheaper based on what stands you said, I'd say, yeah, I'd probably end up buying one, because I was going to give it an entire speech about not just going for the football. You know what I mean? Like I go for the experience and meeting the people that I do, like you, Bellends, right? So there's an element of I will miss that social side of it. And, like I say, I think he'd be stupid to try and release the season tickets, because that is a huge chagrin of anybody involved in wanting chance Serie A. It's a mega point, right? Like I said, if it was March, April time and it was a bit cheaper, I'd probably consider it. I'd probably be 80% there, more than I would be the 0% I'm at now about renewing it. But then you mentioned the watch along, and that's kind of like, I've always said that we don't want to be the podcast that talks about football, and you know what I mean, like I mentioned on Monday, we don't want to be the podcast that talks about football but not go to the games. But there would be that social element that I go to the football for, sat here talking about it with you pricks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, sod it, let's do that, because the interaction we get from these guys commenting now, and the post-game reaction that we could do. And I know Ben will make a meme out of one of us on a weekly basis of us having a meltdown, losing 4-0 to QPR or something. You know what I mean? But I feel like, I feel like I get that social interaction that I enjoy from the comments, the people, the tweets, and the feedback. I'm an attention whore, right? That's why I do this. But and then the social interaction with you pair in real time, and we can get people on and get live, the tech would upgrade, wouldn't it? And we'd get like people calling in and stuff like that. I wouldn't think twice about not renewing.
It's sorry, Ash. Sorry to. I think that's it, isn't it? We get to that point now where to go back to the point about the social interaction. Why do we do what we do? It's a long-standing thing around. I do it with, take my daughter, meet my sister, meet my mate, meet his dad, meet his kids. We all go for the family stuff. Beyond that, the away days, it's right, I'm meeting Ash, or we're going to get to QPR, I'm going to see you. We're going to get to a pub and we're going to have a get together. And, what people don't realise that, and it sounds a bit aggrandizing when we talk about this, I'm very different to you two because you guys grew up together. But me and Dan probably see each other, 3-4 times a year?
Yeah,
if we're lucky. And when we do, the first thing we do is we give each other big bear hugs, talk about how things are going, and we just sit, and it's just natural. And I love that. And it's the same with Ash. Obviously, we see each other a little bit more often because of the things we do and the location we are geographically. I just think now that things have evolved to the point where I would have to find something to replace what I've got now.
Fill that void. Yeah,
I think we're very privileged because we get to do this, but we also find a situation where we go, and I know we've talked about Owls in the Yard, and we put on something that was a 4 or 5 hour event, but my God, the planning that went into it and the prep and the list of notes on your iPhone that Dan had sent through with ticks I've done this, we've done that. Ash, have you sorted this? Stevie, where's the bloody band? Stevie, send them this, ask for that. Where is that band? Where's the band, man? You know, all of that stuff. It becomes something like that would replace the, you know, the feelings that we have from the day-to-day match day stuff. And it'd be tragic to lose what we've got. And I don't want to do that. However,
I get it.
I think we're all now in a privileged position now where we'd say we'd find something different.
I tell you what, I love the idea of getting phone calls in on this show and speaking to people for 5 minutes and you know, and giving them that social interaction that you can only get when you're talking in and around football. You know what I mean? Just, hey, listen, he's played shit, and he's been rubbish. He's been rubbish for 6 months. We got the kids out and all the rest of it. I feel like we could offer something there, and I feel like, you know, that would be our place, wouldn't it? Go on, Ash. What about you? Yeah. I know a lot of people are quite militant, and if we can fill looking at the comments coming through that you've been putting up, I feel like being able to offer that would be amazing. What about you, Paul?
Yeah, I think in our LMS we had this question I think a couple of weeks ago, and I was quite set in my way of thinking, and I've changed that. I think I have, but I was like, I would have to seriously consider. If I was not going to renew, I'd renew. The time I spend with friends and family, and I'm not getting into all the deep bollocks, because that's not what we're about, is it? We're jokes and giggles and laughs and stuff. But it's like, I love the time I spend with people, and life is short. You don't know where you're going to be and all that bollocks. Do I love that more than I hate Chansiri? And I think somebody in the LMS chat, that is where they come, and I've took that, and it was a great point, because what I love doing, do I want to give that up because of Chansiri? And I try to not let anyone spoil or affect what I love doing, because that's my thing, and I could drop dead next week. But then people, rightly so, question it, because we have some adult conversations on there. It's really good, some debate, and it's not all gambling. It's pretty straight up.
It is.
There was some people saying, well, you might not have a club in 2 years, so you wouldn't be able to take your son then, would you? And it's like, fair, I might not have a club, but then I've
but it wouldn't be your choice, so you'd have to facilitate something else.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
But but I am coming around to it. Of course, now it's all what happens, like you say, Dan. Luckily this year I could afford 2 season tickets for me and the lad. Next year, who knows? I may not. I'm self-employed. I don't know what my money situation might be and all that sort of good stuff. So, I would it would be a very hard decision. And I'm sure there's people on there. I mean, I put some comments up. 30+ year season ticket holders not going to renew. And I'm sure there's thousands of people like that. So, I don't think I will, but it is going to be probably one of the hardest decisions, purely on the time and what it brings to me as well. So
then couple that, you're going to be the Sheffield Wednesday Mark Goldbridge, Ash. So there is that.
Well, yeah, there is that. No. But then someone did say that you can go to another club. You can go to a Hallam or something. But that's not my club, is it? Do you know what I mean? Being a Sheffield Wednesday fan is special, isn't it? And anyone as a fan of a football club that's followed him so long is special. And to give that up is going to take a big wrench, and that's what it'll be. But hey ho, that's me. So that's it.
I've started a couple of comments, Ash. I hope you don't mind. There's some people suggesting guests that we should have on the show. We had one here saying, Ian Denham said, get Chef Cam on. Do you know what? I'd love that. I think he's great, me. I don't know why he's such compelling viewing. And then Craig Hayward's gone with, that's such a hard one to answer. Saturday home games are like days like no other. It's Craig and Ellie in the pub chatting with other Wednesday fans and sitting with the same guys they've sat with for nearly 20 years. There is an element of that you've got to kind of drop off. And then Dimitri Sol went, Sophie Ridge, I want to get her like a couple of glasses of wine deep though before she comes on. I don't want to give us any of her Sky Sports answers. I want to give us the full beans on toast. You know what I mean? And then last one here, I've got Cole saying Dan got home rapid. I would love to say that going to the protest in London was a massive effort for me. It was 5 tube stops. I'd have been the biggest scab in the world if I didn't go, if I'm honest. Go on.
Got a comment from Jay Blogs. I definitely won't buy any early bird. He spent the season ticket money before Christmas, so if we don't, it could be the final nail. Good point.
I think this is going to be tough. I think a lot of people, when those renewals come out, are going to really have to search their souls, and I completely understand it.
And I can't believe one man is causing people to make those decisions.
It shouldn't be a choice.
Go on, Stevie. Sorry, you want to say something?
No, I just have this absolute conflict with the whole situation. The Chancery funding, taking it away from him, and so forth. It just makes me feel so conflicted. Not because I want to fund the guy, I don't. And it's that whole love Wednesday, hate Chancery, love what I do on my time, hate the bloke. There's got to be an end game in sight. We can't keep doing this. And I just, sometimes when I think about the protests and the boycotts, and I know I'm going to get pelters for this, and I don't mean it to sound like I'm being crass or I'm sticking my head in the sand or I'm being, sort of blinkered. How can I put this without that sounding like that? Is it getting to him? Is he listening? Does he understand? Will today make a difference? I'm asking the question without me saying I don't think it will, or I do think it will. Why has he not sold up already? What is he holding on to? We suspect we know the answers, but is he genuinely that much of a dick, moron, stupid that he'd go, right, I'll show them? Or is he just saying, I can't show them? Sometimes I don't know what the answer to that is.
I think it's both. I think he's a spiteful child who, like I've said before,
I agree with that, by the way. I agree with that.
Is Fredo of the TUG. There was a wonderful video I posted up on our socials from HITC, and it goes right into a deep dive at the levels that Chansey was running the club, and it is a gamble. He was, we have Simon Jordan on TalkSport talk a lot about running a club at 90%, and that's kind of the sweet spot. 100% of the money coming in, spending 90% of it, and we were running post COVID at 280%, 270%. It wasn't sustainable, and I feel like there's a level of spite in there that he's going, oh, fuck 'em, I'll do it in my own time. But there's also a level of, I don't think he wants anybody lifting back a curtain on certain things as well. I don't know what, and that's purely speculation, but I also feel like he don't want some rugs lifting up, and that's why these NDAs are so important to him. Totally I've said
agree.
Enough.
I totally agree. And, we floated conspiracy theories privately that we're not going to put on the air because we're not those guys, but I totally agree with you.
Mm-hmm. It will be interesting, Dan, like I said, if he does bring out the season tickets, early bird or not. I mean, he'll be good. He'll be good. Right, next question. John Wakefield is probably on the same sort of vein. If Wednesday ceased to exist and no Phoenix club was formed, would you, A, give up watching football, B, watch football as a neutral, or C, find a new club to support? Danielson, what's your thoughts on this one? And get in the comments, everyone, answer A, B, or C.
B.5. I know that's a really wafty answer, but I'd watch football as a neutral, but I would go and pick another club to watch. My club's Wednesday, right? That's who my club is. I wouldn't start another podcast about another football club. I've been down and watched Wimbledon a few times. I'll probably pick them. I really like the day out that they do. And I definitely won't be doing a Wimbledon week or a Don's Daily podcast, but it wouldn't feel like my club. You know what I mean? I'm a bloke in my mid-40s. My main footballing days are behind me, and my main football watching days aren't as passionate anymore. So you get to a point in your life where you're a lot less invested in such things. But my club's Sheffield Wednesday, right? And I'd go and watch Wimbledon. I'd fangirl of a stupid sexy Joe Lewis and stupid sexy Sam Hutchinson, but I wouldn't feel the same vibe as I would my own club. So yes, I would watch it as a neutral. Yes, I would go and watch another club. So Yes, you know what I mean. Does that make sense?
So-
I know I know a couple of Wednesday fans who I used to go with back in the 90s who've got season tickets at Chesterfield because they live in Johnfield and that's where they go. But they're not as invested. But they just go to watch football and pick up that social aspect that we were speaking about in the question before.
So what you're saying, we should have had a D, and you should have comment, and then you would have put in your own answer, Dan. Is that how it works?
That never works.
Stevie, A, B, or C? If Wednesday ceased to exist and no Phoenix Club was formed, would you A, give up watching football, B, watch football as a neutral, C, find a new club to support?
Well, I wouldn't give it up because I do love the sport. But like Dan, you get to that point where I would imagine that when you get to the age of sort of, and we'll all have done it because we're all men of similar interests, we'd have had that point in life where we'd have gone, right, Saturday night, we're either playing football on Saturday, then we're going to do the social stuff, we're going to go to a nightclub or a bar, or we're going to go to the pub, last orders, go home with a kebab, and you're going to sit and watch Match of the Day or whatever that looked like, whatever variation and iteration. So you had that investment in football there, didn't you? The investment and the feel of it changed. We've all played. I'm at my other end of mid-40s. It's my birthday tomorrow, by the way. I still like to put the boots on a Sunday morning and go for a kickabout and try and pretend that I can still
It's gone, Steve. Let it go. For God's sake, just admit it, man. You're nearly 50. It's gone.
I'm still younger than Simon.
We're all younger than Simon. That's like saying I've won the Who's Biggest in My House versus the cat. Come on now.
Fair. So, to that point, though, I wouldn't give it up because I just enjoy the sport. It's been a big part of my life. I've played it. I've watched it. I coach it. I have coached it. It's part of my job now. I enjoy it, and I love watching and being part of that tribalism. I couldn't give it up. I wouldn't. I am more selective in the football that I consume. So in days gone by, it'd be right. Let's get home. Monday night football. What's the equivalent at the moment? I don't know. Sunderland versus Burnley. I know it's been a game a couple of weeks ago. If that was a live game, I'm not going to go out my way to consume that. In many ways,
but I will watch it if it's on.
If it's there and it's on in the background, I might go get it. If not, if there's something else I want to watch, or there's something else I want to do, I'll go do that. And it's cash with the family, isn't it? So if I then go, right, I'm going to take the kids out and do this, I've banked it. Whereas Arsenal versus Liverpool is even for a neutral, is pretty much a must-see game, isn't it? It's something that you're going to go, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to go and watch that, or I'm going to go to the pub with my mate and watch the Champions League final, whatever it may be. I'm going to go and consume that football. So it wouldn't be I don't necessarily understand this sort of feel that if my football club dies, I'm going to go and start on non-league football, and that's better than going somewhere else. But like you, Dan, I don't think I could go, right, I'm now no longer a Sheffield Wednesday fan. I'm going to go and support Rotherham or Doncaster or Barnsley or whoever it is.
Rotherham. If there was no Wednesday, I'd go and watch Rotherham. I'd cheer them on. They're close to my family. They're close to my home. My dad's got a box there for some reason. I don't know what's going on. But you know what I mean? But I'd go and watch them, and I'd be happy if they won and walk out and have a few pints and do the social.
That's it.
But I wouldn't be as emotionally invested.
No. For me, like Molly ended up through school. Molly ended up doing a tournament there, and we got free tickets to go and watch Rotherham versus Charlton last year, and they were on the pitch at half time. And I'm in the ground, and the facilities were actually pretty decent, to be fair. We talked about it off air. The match day experience, their fan zone version, absolutely blinded the arse off what we do. The community initiatives that are there, the people that are involved and so forth. But then I got in my seat and that was it. And it's like, right, Rotherham, what do I want? I want Rotherham to beat Charlton. Of course I do. When I think Malik Wilkes scored, Reece James was playing. They ended up winning 4-0 for the team that's now playing in the Championship. But I didn't get that sort of goosebump moment. There wasn't that feeling of, oh my God, I really want Rotherham to do well. Of course, they're your local team. You want them to do well. You want them to do better. I've got an affinity. I work in Doncaster. When Doncaster play, I want Doncaster to do well because I know a lot of Doncaster fans, and I played in charity games that play on the Doncaster pitch. So Doncaster versus Chesterfield, Chesterfield's a poor example. Doncaster versus Mansfield, for example. I want Doncaster to do better, but I don't have that emotional investment. So I don't know if it becomes that B.5 that you just said, that you kind of find yourself being drawn towards something that you'd follow, but it wouldn't be fandom. It wouldn't be a full support sort of situation.
No.
I'm on the A.5. I'm not really give it up, but I would. Well, like what you said, Stevie, you wouldn't be invested. I don't really watch a lot of live football if it's not Wednesday now. Anyway, me and Dan, we've been to Euros quite a few times to go and watch not just England, other teams and stuff, and I like that. I'm not an England massive fan like that, but I did like the whole atmosphere of being in Marseille for 10 days, getting on the beer and the sun, and then going to Germany for a few days as well. So I'd be on the thing that I will watch it, but it wouldn't be something. If I was doing something with a family on a Saturday or on a night or something, I'd rather do that than go and watch any sort of football. So I'm still watch it, but I wouldn't be giving up other stuff to do it. If you know what I mean. So I think that if Sheffield win, but they're not going to. So it's all hyperbole, isn't it? Really, because we'll have an owner soon. Well, we'll have an owner, but a new one. That's what we want, isn't it? So we've had a question from Mike Crawshaw in the comments, and he said, "If we don't get taken over in the next few months, do you think the new regulator, will have the power to strip DC of his ownership?" I'm going to answer this first, while you guys think. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say they will probably try and make us the test case, but then it will drag on and on all legally, because like any first of anything, there's going to be legal challenges about X, Y, and Z. So I think it would probably drag on for far too long, which is no good for anyone, obviously. So I want it. Of course I do. I want this new regulator to come in, all guns blazing, make Sheffield Wednesday a test case and go, look, obviously you've mismanaged the club and all this good stuff. We're going to make you sell. But then I think if he's being so stubborn, like you said, Dan, earlier, stubborn child, then I think he may bring out all the guns of lawyers. How he'd pay for them, I ain't got a clue, but I think he'd do that just to delay it. What's your thoughts?
We had a comment on the show a few weeks ago that said, fucking hell, I can't remember. We had a comment that said, when has anything got better once a regulator's got involved? And then we listed off a load of government-based regulators, and not one thing is better. Now a regulator's got involved. But the issue for me is I don't see how that would work outside of what the current guise is. I think it's going to be the same processes, just with an extra man in the middle. So, for example, right, the EFL, as far as I give a shit, is has no power. Has no power. They can put sanctions on the club. They can use whatever power they've got in order to try and cripple the club. And that's what my issue with the EFL is. Everything that they've got the power to do affects us as fans and the players on the pitch more than the actual owner itself. But let me give you an example, right? So let's say you've got some conkers, you've had them in vinegar for an entire winter, and some bloke comes up to you, some kid in the schoolyard goes, "Hey, this geezer's got £1 in his pocket and you're selling for 5p each. You should sell it to him." I don't want to. Yeah, but you should though. I don't think I want. How would that work? How would that work? How would an EFL governing body go, you have to sell that to this person? I don't understand how that would work.
They'd take away your string, so you couldn't play conkers. So that is
they're doing that now.
Away the registration in the league. So if the club can't be registered in the league, there's no point to it. So he has to sell it.
But the EFL could do that now. But the regulator can and the EFL can't now. Because my question then would be, obviously, well, why aren't they doing it now? You know what I mean?
So the EFL, how Reading got rid of Die Younger, was it?
Yeah.
There's a stipulation in the EFL that if the owner got convicted of a
a felony. Yeah.
felony,
I get it. Right.
Then the Reading Trust or whoever it was, Sell Before We Die, found that. They found that he'd
Right.
got a misdemeanor back in his home, and that's how the EFL disqualified him.
Yeah.
But apparently at the minute, Chansiri hasn't got that, or no one's found that. So at the minute, EFL can't do the same as what they did for Reading.
So my original question remains then: what would a governing body do? What powers do they have that the EFL don't have right now, apart from going, "Hey, you should sell this to this man"? I don't want to. Oh, you rapscallion, and that's it. What? And it's just gonna. And you're right, Ash. There's just going to be a load of lawyers, a load of back and forth. Another 2 years down the line, just because Chansiri doesn't want that curtain lifting back.
And I think that's what it is. I think they'll try and do it, but then they'll just be all sorts. Stevie, what's your thoughts on that?
I don't think it comes to the regulator. I don't think it's going to get to that situation first and foremost. But I agree with you guys to an extent, unless there is some sort of legislative change. But I don't know how that legislative change can be implemented, because you're effectively moving the goalposts, aren't you? And that's my worry. This regulator is going to come in, and there's an element of the fan base that is saying, excuse me, that is saying once the regulator comes in, we'll be absolutely fine, everything will be bang on. I don't think it gets to that point with Chansiri, because the worry, and it's a big worry, is that I can't remember which one of you two has just said it. We could go out of business if he stops doing what he's doing in terms of the ownership. You know, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, you will de-license you, will deregister you, whatever else. There's a very strong feeling among certain people that Chansiri would see us do that and he'd walk away with nothing rather than just admit defeat. I don't think that's a shock to anybody, is it, when we talk about that? I do worry about that to an extent. I don't think it's necessarily going to get that far. There is a date on the horizon, and I'm not going to sort of share that, but I'm very interested to see where we are at the end of the month. So maybe I am sharing that date a little bit without saying too much. But 1st of October is going to be interesting. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know. So I don't think the regulators are going to necessarily have the powers that people think they
people
are.
believe them to going to have. Yeah. I mean, John's put a comment in there saying it would be legislation change to not put the losses on the club and have escrow type accounts to protect the clubs from debt. That's great, right? That's wonderful. But I feel like that's future proofing football. I don't think that will answer the issues that we have in football right now. I feel like I don't feel like we could all walk up to all 92 clubs and go, hey, you have to give us X amount in case you don't pay everybody. But going forward, yes, that would be good. I just don't see how they're going to be able to influence any sales.
That's the thing, isn't it? Because they talked about potentially the change for the fit and proper purposes has potentially been going from a one-off, you've got a show and then you own. There's been conversations around people saying it's now going to be an annual thing where you have to go and you have to pass a fit and proper again. I get that. Changing legislation, regulator coming in. It does. I don't know what they would be able to do retrospectively, is what I think I'm trying to get to. Going forwards, they could go right as a legacy. It's the Bosman rule, isn't it? You can't suddenly sell people. You can't suddenly transfer for free if you've already transferred. You can't already suddenly transfer for nothing. You can't rip your contract up on whatever if it's already happened in the past. And we are now a team that is in the past. Going forwards, they can go, well, this happened to John Mark Bosman in 1993. This happened to Sheffield Wednesday in 2025. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure it doesn't happen again. So what are we going to do? And we're going to draw a line in the sand, and that's where we start. That's the worry.
Yeah, there was a thing from Henry Winter. I think he posted it out earlier today about the regulator, and it was the fit and proper owners test. They're going to do that for obviously potential new owners, but then it's also going to be done on a yearly thing for owners of already clubs now. So
they should do that with old people and their driving licenses.
That was the one, Ash. That was that. Yeah. I think I've probably not explained it as well as I'd like to. I'm going to put this comment up. Sorry, I know you guys have been manning it, but Dato Khan's been on. why have Wednesday not had a queue of buyers with our potential when teams like Wrexham can attract big investors? I just think it's the bullshit that they're going to have to go through with the NDAs and the way that Chancery operates his business. You guys might have a different opinion, but everything you hear and everything you're listening to from people that have been in and around it, it just sort of lends itself to the fact that the guy's an absolute clown when it comes to business. He doesn't want to run it in a professional manner. I wouldn't want to go and invest £1 million in something, and I know we're talking on a much grander scale. I wouldn't want to put £1 million into something if I'm used to dealing with a business model or a structure that requires legal activity. It requires a board that you're going to go and talk to. It requires due diligence, sharing of accounts, a mutual respect, and all of those things that you have, drawing and contracts up and making sure that things are sorted. If they're the things that you have to do, you can't then go to a guy who's gone, right, I'm going to treat you with this level of disdain, and I'm going to go, my word is golden, and that's it. People don't operate like that when they're operating with money at that level, and I think that's one of the reasons.
I think there's been multiple people who want to buy it, but just one person who doesn't want to sell it.
Yeah,
I think that's probably the answer to that, isn't there? You can have a queue around the corner, but if the geezer don't want to sell it, by doing that, exactly that, moving goalposts, not answering the phone or not getting in contact with anyone or trying everything and you can not to engage with people to set up a deal. I don't know how it works buying a football club. I've never done it, but I'm sure it's pretty easy. Or you'd thought, wouldn't you? But yeah, it's well, yeah, that's it. Right, another question. Here we are. We sort of had this earlier, but I'll do it anyway. It's Ollie Seddon on the LMS chat. Most influential Sheffield-based music artist and why? Ooh, most influential, is that to the area, to the greater, or what? You can mean it however you want. Take it however you want. Daniel?
Martin Ware.
Yes.
I tell you what, it'd be easy for me to say Jarvis. It'd be very easy to say Alex Turner because he's got the most amount of money probably out of the lot of them. But Martin Ware is. I tell you what, I spoke to him 3-4 weeks ago, didn't I? And I very rarely speak to people like that and get edgy. You know what I mean? Like I checked my privilege a little bit, and I couldn't give it the full Dan Fudge experience. I had to sit there and listen to the man because he was gracing me with his time, and rightly so. That's the way around it is, because I feel like his influence in terms of pop music and the way it went in the 80s, and his influence in artists like Tina Turner, who is absolutely one of the queens. So in terms of influence in music, Martin Ware's got his fingers in many a pie there. And in terms of influence into loving his football club and talking about it, because let's be honest, Alex and Jarvis don't. Him.
I didn't really know a great deal about Martin Ware. I knew of him, and I knew he was a Wednesday fan. But I listened to that podcast, Dan, and I've got to say, mate, it was fantastic. And I'm not blowing smoke.
He's box office, isn't he?
Because I don't want to. You know me, I don't like doing that to you.
No, you don't.
But Martin was fantastic. The stuff about Tina Turner, which I grew up as a massive Tina Turner fan. My old man had the cassette, Foreign Affair in the Maestro, going down to France on holidays. I
love that. I absolutely love that.
Listening to that, it was that and the Queen and Phil Collins, all that, Genesis, all that. They're my peeps. But yeah, it was. Yeah, I think that's a fantastic answer because we learned a hell of a lot about him and obviously the 80s and Sheffield Wednesday and growing up. So yeah, I like that, Dan. Stevie,
that interview that we've just talked about there, I don't think I've ever listened to a podcast with you hosting where your arse has dropped out within 30 seconds. I've never known it. It was like listening to myself when I do a hello from the other side. It's like
that was the second go at it as well. That was the second go. I started and went, I'm gonna have to do that again. And then still went blah, 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 blah.
My name's Daniel. Will you talk to me, Martin, please? I'm so scared.
Be gentle.
That's good. A little bit more boring. I'm going to go Alex. I'm going to go the Arctic Monkeys. Just for the sheer size of the band. in the 21st century. And it's not necessarily anything to do with Sheffield Wednesday. You look at the way that the music landscape has changed over the last 20 years. I just think they are a natural progression from Oasis. So in the Oasis hit in the mid 90s, and then you had a lot of, not tribute acts, but people that paid tribute to their way of singing, the way that they performed, that rock and roll mid 2000 to 2010 sort of approach was clearly influenced by Oasis. And I just think, the earlier stuff, and that's not a dig at the Arctics. I don't access their more modern stuff as much as I do with the first sort of 2 or 3 albums. That sort of 4 or 5 year period in the what will it have been, sort of 2006, 2007 onwards. I think that changed the game again. So for me, I think they've had a huge influence on what people are listening to, how they're performing, and the bands that are coming up now, and the people, the lads that we had on stage the other week, clearly influenced by Arctics, Oasis. So for me, it'd be them.
I think going back to the 80s, you like say you've Heaven 17, is it ABC? I think they were from Sheffield as well.
Yeah.
You got Human League. Do you know what I mean? That era of that, and I think being obviously growing up in the 80s, I'm not going to say one person, but I think that genre of music and them groups, what come out in the 80s, I think that had a lot.
Genre?
Yeah, you like that? Yeah, synth pop or whatever it was called. I'm down with the older people. Yeah, man.
Genre.
I got Mike Croshaw said Elliot Kennedy deserves a shout. Yeah, he's from not far from us. Danny's from a writer of collaborator with Gary Barlow.
Yeah, he's the geezer that's worked with like Celine Dion and Spice Girls, but Aretha Franklin and Donny Osmond and the rest of it. And he's worked with some absolute huge names.
Yeah, he did like a concert at high school last couple of years ago, I think it was.
Did he?
Did all the repertoire of songs that he's wrote and collaborative with. Yeah, it was good. It was good. So we got Maloko, Long Jericho said, forgot about I wish Unforgettable Fire 1. I just wish Jarvis and Joe Cocker would have done a duet. My old man went to school with Joe Cocker. There we are. Not that I can ask him about him.
Wow.
Seeing Ricky Savage, Def Leppard on match days at S6. There we are.
Does he still have the mullet? I need to know.
I think
Does
they've
he
just
still have the 80s rock hair.
I don't think they do, but I think the tickets have just gone on sale for their next tour actually today. There you are. Right, we've got one last question. If you're all right, that's all right. Excuse me. Oh, hang on. Sorry.
Put the adverts on, Ash, while you're coughing. I tell you what, I'll help you out. I'll do it.
Don't skip ahead, don't press that button. These ads are lean, not belly mutton. A tiny break before we pop. And don't forget when fun stop.
Are you back?
I'm back. Sorry, apologies there. So Craig Hay, if you could do the next watch along with an ex-player, who would it be and why? And if you don't know what we're talking about here, the very popular and a show that we did for the Leeds game was watch along with myself and Stevie. You didn't know you wanted, but it went down a treat, and we're going to do it again for the Grimsby game, aren't we, Stevie?
The thing they didn't know they wanted, the thing we didn't know we wanted.
Yeah, I know. Well, Dan said, the boss said, yeah.
Do you know what? My favourite thing about it was when I could see him popping up in the background, and I was thinking, he's into this.
I was right.
He's having some of this.
I was all in. I couldn't see the game because I was on a train. I was sat watching you pair on my blower.
It just flew by though, didn't it? It was good. I'm looking forward to it, and it's going to be a bit of a different vibe when we play Grimsby. Things will have moved on a little bit. There may be more news and what have you, but we're going to do it. Committed to doing it. I'm looking forward to spending another 3 hours in your company, my friend.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, mate. It's a pleasure. Any players you'd like to do one with, Stevie? If it was not me and not a current player, because obviously they may be playing.
If ex-players, we had him on a couple of years ago, and I know it's a bit of an easy sort of B-tech box ticking answer, but I'd love to get a bottle of wine in Carlton Palmer again. He was the one that stood out for me, and then the other two, Hursty, I think, because I just think he's from that sort of vintage of I don't give a shit, I'm going to say what I want to say, and he's so enigmatic when it comes to it. And I know that people have been on stage and seen him live, but the third person I'd go to is Sheridan. I'd love to sit down and watch Sheridan having a chat. I get if he's had a couple of beers or whatever, I think he's probably got a really dry sense of humour. Jay Bloggs has just been in and put Paolo Di Canio. He'd be one that I'd not thought about, but I think could be really good value as well. But you know, any one of those, Carlton Palmer would probably be the one I'd go to. I know it might be a little bit boring, but yeah, that'd be the one for me.
Danielson?
I noticed Danny SWFC there has put Ross Wallace. Every time we spoke to a player, you know, we did the quick fire questions at the end on some of them. And a lot of them do say Ross Wallace is one of the funniest people they've ever met. You know what I mean? And I feel like from a comedy perspective, but I kind of want to go down Stevie's route because I'd like somebody who's got SWFC experience who speaks like Roy Keane, and I'm struggling to think of somebody outside of Sheridan and Carlton Palmer. I think Big Nige would be a great one because when Nigel Pearson gets spoken about, you know, like you said, when there's a couple of glasses of wine knocking in and stuff like that, like Chris Turner mentioned it, Phil King mentioned it, him and Ron didn't get on, so there's not the early 90s loving for Sheffield Wednesday when it comes to Nigel Pearson. And so I feel like he would be box office to sit and watch a shitty 1-0 win against Grimsby or something, you know what I mean? And just slag everything off and go, right, I've had enough of this. I'm going to go for a fight. And I kind of like it. Like I feel like that would be just like, all right, Nigel, cool. I think you just, 20 minutes in, just get up and fuck off. I feel like that's what they do. And I'd be like, all right, cool. Cheers, Nigel. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Pearson. Thank you. Come again.
I'm going to go a couple of plays from more recent times. I'm going to go David Stockdale because I think that chat with him was amazing. Yes. I think he'd be
It's just turned into an advert for all the players we've spoken to, by the
way.
Don't forget, if you look on our YouTube channel and go to Owls Alumni Players, you can see all these chats. Look out for Phil King. He's hilarious.
Yeah, he was good as well. Yeah. And more recently left the club because I just think he would be great was Pato. I'd love to get Pato on.
Yeah.
I would love to sit down, watch a game with Pato because I think he was box office for just a shit house, and I think we've got a couple of questions, a couple of answers here. We've got Russell Howe says Royston Drenthe. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Rob Shirley as Big Dave Atty. Andrew Osborne's gone for David Hurst. John Russell has said Hutch. Yeah, Hutch would be good.
Hutch didn't pull any punches, did he? I kind of like the way Hutch spoke.
And Roland Nielsen from Mike Crawshaw. I love Roland of what he did and everything, but I went to the evening with him at Hillsborough. Yeah,
he's. I tell you what, Mike. I don't want to. You know. I too am a big fan of Roland Nielsen, and once again, it's going to turn in an advert for the interviews we've done. But he's honestly dry as a cracker. He is a consummate professional in terms of how he plays football, how he keeps his body in shape. His addiction to the game is absolutely unrivaled. But good Lord, he's boring.
Jimmy said we've had Jimmy said Terry Curran.
Terry's box office. Terry's great.
Terry Curran. I have to say this. We did and I know we're talking about the lockdowns that we did and the live shows. Terry Curran was the one that I went, Terry Curran. Not really bothered about that. And then we set him up. And he had he was sat in a grandparent's sort of armchair, wasn't he? And somebody came along and gave him the laptop, and he started like this. And by the end of the night, he just gone down like that. And his head goes down the screen. But he just starts talking. The Greyhound story was absolutely unreal. And I can remember it. 5 years later, I can still remember little bits.
I'm going to go through them
Phenomenal.
again. I think I'm going to have a watch back of them.
Some of those were absolutely incredible. Terry Curran was absolute value.
I tell you what, guys, we must have done something right, because a lot of people are saying all the people we've had on the lockdowns or alumni. So we've got Dale Khan's gone with Johnny Arks.
Here's another good one.
I tell you what, get John Arks and Dave.
Monty Dangerous. Yeah.
Get them on. That'd be a good one, wouldn't it? And Russell Howe's gone for Leighton Palmer, just to upset. Thanks, Harry.
Liam Dooley.
I've tried getting him on so many times. Yeah, as well. But anyone watching, listening, if you know any ex-players or anyone you want to just put a word in, say these guys here are a good laugh, then put us in touch with them and we'll get them on. Any other business, guys? There's no other questions. We're all out of questions for now. I have got some others saved up if we do it again, but
grown-ups should not be eating cereal with an anthropomorphic animal on it, and ketchup is for children.
I like ketchup.
And that's why you're wrong.
I keep it in the cupboard and not in the fridge.
That I agree with that. I know it says to keep it in the fridge like it does on the bottle, but who wants to put cold sauce on their chips? Controversial.
I want to put cold sauce on my chips. It's a contrast that just elicits joy out of my taste buds.
Do you have mayonnaise with your chips?
Sometimes.
Yeah, I'm quite the European.
Yeah. Do you keep that in the fridge?
Yeah, it's got eggs in it.
But ain't that the same? You're putting cold sauce on top of your hot chips, Daniel?
I don't know. I'm speculating. I don't have red sauce as some of the adults say.
Beans in a pot on your fry up.
What in the autism? Just put it on your plate.
Yeah, but you might not want it to
more
mix.
washing up, really, isn't it?
It's ridiculous.
What about What about Stevie? What if you run out?
Sorry, Ash. I got. This conversation just got weird. I just need to bring everybody behind the curtain here. So I have some really right-wing views on the way people consume food in this country. Like I am absolutely insane when it comes to things and the way we eat food in this country. I don't think grown-ups should be eating cereal with a cartoon fox on the front of it. I don't think grown-ups should be having tomato ketchup or red sauce. I don't think people should denote the flavour of the sauce. Given the color of it, Endo's is brown, so is barbecue. It's HP, it's barbecue, it's Endo's. You know what I mean? Tax, come at me, bro. What were you going to say, Ash? Sorry.
So I was going to ask Stevie his thoughts on, like if you buy something, right? You go on holiday and you buy a shower gel, yeah, and you run out. That shower gel is finished, yeah. So It's empty. You've last squirt. You've done all that, yeah. What do you do with that shower gel bottle? And I hope he's still listening.
What would I do with an empty shower gel bottle?
Yeah, what do you do with it?
Yep.
I get the feeling this is a question that's totally aimed for your mate Dave. And
it is our mate Dave, yes, 100%.
What I would do is I would put that shower gel bottle in the bin.
Yep.
So you wouldn't take
what does Dave do? He takes it home.
Dave's on. Dave's in. Dave's here. Dave's in. Right, so let me...
Oh, we should
Dave. I can't wait to see Dave in a couple of weeks.
We'll do a Dave special in a couple of weeks, right? So I need.
Can you do a My Wednesday? Get Dave on a My Wednesday.
We'll get him on. Now, listen. There's our mate Dave. He's insane, right? And he does these things that no normal person would ever agree with. But I need to try and explain it in a proper way. So what Dave does is he will go on holiday, use those little miniature bottles, and come home with the trash essentially in his little see-through bag that you have to put in your thing, and then discard them in the country in which they were purchased. Now, that's mad as a fishing petrol itself. But
why?
The reason of Ash, I'll let you pick it up from here.
No, Dan, you please, you finish. I'll
have
the next one.
All right. So the reason that he does this is so that they get found in. So if they go to landfill, for example, right, they get thrown into landfill. That there's an opportunity that they might find their mate that they were in the factory with or on the shelf with, and then they're not rotting in pure loneliness, and that's why he brings trash home off holiday. This is true.
Get the fuck out of town.
And that's the comment he's come back with. How would you like to be left alone in a different country?
Please clip this and put this on the internet tomorrow.
Right, next one for you. I'm just outing my mate Dave. I've known him for 40 odd years, so I'm sure.
I mean, talk about yourselves, kids. Talk about yourselves.
I know. He's got two lovely kids. Dave has. He's making their pack up. Yeah, so he's making the pack up, and he's got his little sandwich bag, and he's putting 4 raspberries. Yeah, and then what he does, he gets the raspberries, and then if there's a bad one, so if you've got a bad one, you don't want to give your kids that, so you'll throw it in the bin, and then he'll throw another one in it, a good one, in the bin with it, so it's not alone.
So it's not on its own.
It's not on its own. And Jay Blogs does not know our mate Dave. I'm sure he doesn't, but this is elite. Does Dave bring his shit home?
It wouldn't surprise me if honestly, if we got stopped at the German airport that we went to the Euros in, and he had a bag full of shit, that he'd have gone, it's just so my shit gets in the same pipe as the other shit that's come out of me. It wouldn't surprise me if that's happened. Yeah. Anyway, what we're talking about, are we still on about football here?
This is what the Q&A is. Anyone else want outing their mates on the internet of all?
Has anybody got any more right-wing views on the way, the way people consume food? For example, queuing at a buffet, get in the bin, grow up. People want the small plates. They want the small plates.
You stood there waiting. Yeah, you stood there waiting, aren't you, at the buffet, because you want the hot food, or that person is there, you just go round them, because I don't want the scrambled eggs. I want the fried eggs at the end or something. I don't just stand there and wait. You just go around. But then people who aren't of the same look at you funny, like you pushed in. No, I haven't pushed in. I just don't want them eggs.
I just queuing anyway at a buffet can get a bin. Straight line queuing. They did that in London today after the protest. That was crap. Steve is a grown up, likes WWE wrestling. That can get a bin. That's not.
Yeah, food. That's wrong. That is weird.
Ash, wrap it up. Wrap it up before.
Yeah, we've lost his way as always. We start talking about crap. But thank you very much for joining us tonight. We will be back on Monday night, 8 p.m. at our usual slot. We have something being announced tomorrow. That's pretty. It's exciting for us, but it's things. So please look out on our socials tomorrow for that. But thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Q&A over and done with Daniel. Good to see you, Stevie. Good to see you again. No doubt I'll get a message at 2 a.m, Daniel, because you can't sleep. See you later, everyone.
Every week, live from 8 p.m. It's the Wednesday week. Bringing you football analysis.
But he said we'll win the league next season.
Bringing you banter.
I don't think everyone wants to listen to my boring anecdotes.
Why not? You've been doing it for 4 years on this show.
I should not have said that.
This show's like you're mental. No, I'm not.
Clip that.
Bringing you terrible impressions.
Wibble, wobble, wobbly, wibble, wobble, Cyber Jordan. Hey, pay your bills. I don't know where these jokes are coming from.
Available on all social medias.
Obviously, this goes out on YouTube and as well as all the other social media out there for podcasts, etc.
The award-winning Wednesday week. Join us.
Put that on your